You lead with value. The more value you give, the more the money is going to come. It's not just about the dollars and cents and making the money. Lead with the value, and that will sort itself out. Welcome to Gym Owner Freedom. I am Scott Carpenter, and I am a former broke, struggling, frustrated, and overworked gym owner that felt stuck no matter what I did to try and improve the business. Once I realized that the answer wasn't what I thought it was, just getting more clients, and after really doing the math on acquisition and churn rates, I realized I wasn't even playing a winnable game to begin with. With my current price structure, mathematically, there was no way I could afford to pay my staff so I could scale up and out of the business, that I can have the time, the money, the impact, and the freedom that I always knew I was capable of. Once I learned how to add value by selling transformational programs to people who needed more than just workouts, everything changed in my life. Today, I own 6 gyms that all run without me, and I am free to pursue my passion projects and work just because I love to, not because I have to. And if that's a goal that we mutually share together, then this is the show for you. I'm going to teach you the framework to make way more money with less clients and open up a world of possibilities to you. Subscribe, leave a review, and tune in every week. It'll change your life. I promise you that. Okay, so today we've got a very special episode. We're going to talk about making huge profits using delivered meals with an awesome guest. I've been really excited to have him on, with Todd Abrams, who is the CEO and co-founder of Icon Meals. Todd, welcome to the show.
Scott, thanks. Appreciate you having me on, and look forward to talking about huge profits today. So
it's crazy that food is such a pain point. I mean, as a gym owner, we know this is where people fall short. It's where everybody falls short is nutrition. I don't care who you are. It's hard to manage the shopping and the prep and the doing this and doing that. And at the end of the day, prep takes all that margin of error out when you can have your meals done for you. And what gym owners don't realize is we talk about supplements, right? Supplements. Oh, you should offer supplements because they're going to buy them from somewhere, right? Well, what do people buy more than supplements? Freaking food. Yeah. They're definitely buying food somewhere else, just not from you.
Yeah.
And we connected quite a while ago, and we've been able to set up a system where we make a lot of extra money off of food through you guys doing all the hard work. And the cool thing is you guys are massively consistent. You guys have amazing food that is super customizable as well. Extremely healthy. So you guys are just like the perfect fit for a gym owner to add on as an additional offering. So, and you're based out of Texas, I believe, correct?
Correct. Based out of Dallas. We have 2 locations here. The main facility is central in Dallas, and ship all over the US out of here.
Yeah. And what's like the scoop with Icon Meals? Like,
Sure.
I know you've got to be, I don't even know the scope of how big you are and what you do, but yeah, I mean, like, because you serve a lot. I know that you've even got like a UFC contract, and you're just involved in a lot, aren't you?
Yeah, we've been around for I guess 8 years this year. Start off small, catering kitchen. My background is a little bit different. We'll get into that later, but sort of coming into food was interesting. People say, hey, why'd you get in food? And it's more, for me, it's been a passion project. I grew up sort of not in the best shape, not in the best health, played sports all my life and stuff, but I grew up being a fat kid. The nickname was Lumpy growing up, right? And knew that food can change people's lives if you really get into really understanding how it can be used. So I look at food as a tool, like you said, right? But from that standpoint, I had a couple of friends that owned another prep company back in 2013. Just didn't like what they were doing. I was picky, didn't like the preservatives and all the different stuff. So we actually started Icon building custom meals, which we still do today, is a large portion of our business. So when I say custom, it's like there's no no oils, no seasonings, no et cetera. It's sort of baked, boiled, steamed, whatever, right? Grilled. And from that standpoint, just based on like either dietary requirements, allergens, built to your specific macros, you can pick your proteins, you pick your portion size, carbs, veggies, etc. Customized to you with your name, your sort of macros, and your label. But that was how we started the company, and then got into sort of a signature menu, which we still run today. Run about 34 different meals on that menu. And then if you look at the site, we got into a bunch of different things in regards to bulk box, lean box. So I guess the number one thing that people come to us and they say, hey, I know I need to eat better. I need to, I don't know, change. People tell me, hey, I need to eat less fat, whatever, more protein. But they're like, where do I start? Right. So it's, if we can direct them and give them a limited or simplified element of choice, it allows them to make that first decision. And sort of like for our lean box, was our first box we put out there, lean protein, a carb, and a veggie, right? And simplified, but give them a little bit of variety. And then you have, I'll call it what, I don't know, there's always like a different diet out there, it seems like, right? And so there's a keto, et cetera. And so we have a keto box, we have a bulk box, which I call the big boy box. A lot of our, I don't know, football players and different things use it, higher calorie, so higher proteins, 54 to 60 plus grams of protein, 600 to 1200 calories per meal. Again, though, you can build everything yourself, like customized, et cetera. So from that scope standpoint, this facility is roughly 33,000 square feet. We have been 100 people working here, run currently 2 shifts. The capacity in this facility is probably somewhere between, I don't know, 220, let's say 250,000 meals a week. We're in the process of building it additionally right now to hopefully be able to scale to over 500,000 meals out of this facility a week. We have 2 offsite, I'll call it freezer storage units as well, that are within 15 minutes. So for Icon, we still do not freeze our meals. So everything, if you get frozen meals, it's because of the dry ice, right? And that's shipping out of Texas. But we do not what is called flash freeze. So basically our meals, everything comes in fresh. It goes through the chambers, and there's 5 different chambers in here. We are also a full USDA inspected facility. So for your users or for your gym partners, that's a big insurance policy, I'll call it, because I just want to state one thing. All prep companies, it's not apples to apples, right? There's so many different prep companies and everyone wants to be in the space. And I'm like, if I knew 8 years ago what I know now, I wouldn't be in the perishable meal space, right? It's very highly regulated. And I wish that everyone was on that same level of, I'll call it requirement, which is at a USDA or higher level. And that's just because like there's a lot of things that we have an inspector that lives with us 8 to whatever, if we work 12 hours a day, they live on site. All our macros and all our ingredients have to be chemically analyzed. So like most people say, hey, this is how much protein this, I don't know, teriyaki salmon has, this is the carbs and fats, but ours has to be chemically analyzed. And that runs between, I don't know, 175 to 300 bucks a meal. And I have to get it tested. So they burn it down to cinders, then it tells the outputs of how the protein and all those different things are. So you know your actual macros, right? Because I can't get a label created until I have that paperwork and then they sign off on it. So I don't know, we buy probably $3,000 to $4,000 of, I'll call it competitors or people's food in the industry. And I don't ever say anything because karma's, it is what it is, right? But there's a lot of things that are really inaccurate. So I would just advise your people to really understand. And that's why we sort of, I don't know, way back made the decision to sort of do what we do. We have our own raw room. And for people that don't understand what that is, we're probably one of 2 companies. Raw room means we don't bring in any pre-cut, like pre-frozen chicken breasts, steak, etc. So all our meat comes in, we hand trim, we do everything.
Wow.
If you're ever in Texas, you're welcome to come in and see. It's interesting in regards to like the brisket. So basically we have these people that have like big metal, I don't know what they're called, like claws. And after they're smoked or they're, it's basically they're like, they pull the fat out of it. So it's like stripped. But again, we do everything in-house that way. And we made that decision a long time ago. I could make a lot more money, right? But again, we always said, hey, we would never create a meal or use any ingredient or anything that we wouldn't eat or we wouldn't feed our family. So that's where we stayed at those standards. And there's other competitors out there that we're not going to be the cheapest. We're not going to be the highest, but we are going to be, I'll call it in that top quality. And we guarantee that. So from that standpoint, that's really, I guess we started the business for a couple different things. From a business standpoint, I started the business because any business I've had, I always have to have 2 things. I always have to have recurring or residual revenue. And that's a key, I think, important thing for you. I know like gym memberships for hopeful, right, are residual recurring revenue. But then you look at, hey, what other elements can I help add to, I don't know, raise my LTV, raise my AOV, et cetera, right? And to me, food is residual revenue. Like our rebuy rate's roughly 78 to 82%. So I don't know, take that again, high. 78 to 82% means you're averaging roughly 3 to 4 times a month, people are buying food, if not more, right? So if you can get a consumer, and our average order value typically is roughly about 171, and that's just food without snacks and stuff. So that tells me people are buying 12 to 15 meals. We have people that buy, I don't know, a couple $100 a week or more, right? But again, if you could have add on every single week, $170, and let's say you're making 30 points or whatever, then for you guys, that can slowly add up over time. The second thing I always had to have in a business is a solution to a problem. And our solution when I started Icon was really the element of convenience. You mentioned, hey, meal prep's hard, right? It takes time. We want to be that trusted partner. that you guys can, when I say trust that our macros are right, our quality is there, right? The seal's right. That when we're providing food and you're providing food to your end, I don't know, customer that's coming in and trying to lose weight, gain muscle, et cetera, that you are feeding them that best quality. So we just want them to allow them to focus on, or you to focus on your zone of genius, I'll call it, and allow us to take that work it, right? You know that, hey, the food's going to show up when it says show up on Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever it is, outside of the caveat of UPS FedEx, which is my, I don't know, one childhood nightmare at night. But everything else is that's sort of how we really focused on growing the company. Outside of the food, we do some private label as well, and that's become quite a big business for us. So there's other customers, companies that you guys well know in the industry that are a lot bigger than us that don't do their own food. And really, just for you guys, like there's a lot of these bigger guys are internet marketing companies, and they don't have their own kitchen, right? There's two large co-manufacturers that do a lot of other food in the industry. And we've been able to carve out a niche in that market just because we're not the guys that are producing TV dinners and stuff like that. So again, and the reason why we have blast freezers put in here and we have offsite storage is because there is a lot larger volume going into these guys. And these guys do freeze and then they ship through 3PLs all across the US. But from a partner standpoint, yeah, we've done a lot with WWE. We currently do all the food for UFC PI, which is the Performance Institute. So we work with probably 60 to 70 plus fighters. Anyone that goes through a fight camp that's in the US pretty much is on a diet that we are feeding. If you go to the PI and you have a chance in Vegas, you'll see our food in the cafeteria. You'll see our food in the PI in the performance section. I don't know. We fed pretty much anyone and everyone in the UFC that has had a big fighter. We also do US triathlon. We do USA bobsled. We've done USA boxing, USA wrestling. That's the Olympic stuff. Work with a lot of the rugby teams. So
how did you start to create those relationships? How did you open those doors?
Networking pretty much. Like, again, so I said 100 people. We've got probably 17, 18 executive or whatever you want to call it. Everyone else is in the kitchen. I've never had any salespeople. So we got 0 salespeople. So it's all been built through word of mouth, through our affiliate partnerships, relationships that way. And then just networking. I think it's key for your business as well, right? I have a lot of friends that I think have had more success that it's because of networking, right? And that's,
absolutely.
Again, it's a key thing in any business, but I'm a big believer in growing my personal network in our business network. So, but yeah, from that standpoint, we do a lot of the NFL combines. So Test Academy, Patrick Mahomes Apex Academy, do the food for. We're doing Kobe's before, I guess what it was called Mamba Academy before. It's called something else now. But again, the combines before the NFL draft is like right now, that's what we're doing. And there's, I don't know, a ton of different people who've done food for, a lot of celebrities. I don't know, a lot of rappers that my kids know that I don't know. There's a bunch of different people. So to me, it's like I say, when people, I don't know, there's drama and stuff. I'm like, look, we're drama free. We provide food. Everyone needs to eat, like you said, right? So again, people always ask, hey, why haven't you started your own supplement line and stuff? It's because we feed a lot of the supplement suppliers. So in high volume, and we do have, like, outside of the food, we started functional food line. So we have like our protein popcorn. We have a high protein nut butter and almond butter line. And those are things that when you guys look at, if you have a gym, they crush it in the gym. I have a bunch, I won't name gyms, but when you're making, like, you guys get 50% off that, right? I wouldn't sell it cheaper. I would sell it at retail, what we sell it at.
Oh, absolutely.
My biggest problem is, well, I see a lot of people come in here and they're like, oh, what can I sell your stuff for? I'm like, I don't understand. If we're selling it for X, why would you sell it for lower, right? If I'm telling you, like, and you get 50% off, I don't see why the need to undercut. But again, it's a surprise sometimes to me. So, but again, the nut butters crush, great margin, great products, healthy, just normal peanut butter basically with whey, right? So it's WPI. We've blended the flavors. Our seasonings do extremely, extremely well. For any of your gyms that have an actual, like, footprint gym or in their gym, we're happy to give you guys free merchandising stands. So it's a big, huge, like, I don't know, end cap stand if you want, whatever. The high protein coffee with nootropic is really good in gyms based on just sort of a great pre-workout or midday pickup. We have, I don't know, a lot of different things. We got some other stuff coming out. The barbecue sauce is crush. So everything's clean ingredient deck except for the original sweet popcorn, and that's just because there's raw sugar in it. And but again, that's the only thing that has any bad stuff in it. So
yeah, guys, I can vouch for the quality of the food. So I know you don't really want to talk about other companies, and I'm not going to name any because, well, they're out of business now. But I tried in the past to set things up for other local companies, right? For meal prep, meal delivery. And that falls short pretty easily. They both of the ones that I tried before, they just went under. It's a tough business. It's a really tough business.
Yeah.
And when the quality control that these guys have is unreal. And like I said, you can completely personalize every aspect of the meal. Yeah. And I did that with one previous company. And like we looked at like two different people's meals that were supposed to be different. And at the end of the day, as they were going under and quality control wasn't there, it was the same thing. They weren't actually changing quantities of anything.
Part of the problem is as well for a lot of companies, like to get certified, and like USDA it's impossible to get certified now. It's also very, very expensive. It's not like it's cost prohibitive for a lot of these guys, right? So you got two options in the food industry. You're going to stay small and local and fly under the radar, or you got to go big. If you're in between is where it's like you're stuck, right? And you're just going to start spitting cash. But a lot of these companies, it goes into like, I don't know, in the food industry, it's not like the big terms and stuff, right? So a lot of these guys come in and you have to pay cash for a lot of stuff on your product and different things, just because that's a lot of the time how the food side of the business is. But there's a lot of ways to I don't know, a lot of people drop a lot of marketing terms, which are big marketing buzzwords and stuff, organic this and that. And it's not always what it seems. So I just say like, I'm pretty picky. I won't eat from a lot of other prep companies just because I know too much. So again, I just like, to me, it's that trusted partner, right? Because a lot of people say, hey, well, what about private label? And then the reason we do some private label, but we do a lot more partnerships just based on, because we have a good reputation, right? We are that trusted partner in here. We have, I don't know, tons and tons of other companies that vouch for us and that we work with. And it's better if you do what you do, right? And we do what we do. Absolutely. And you have two of the best, which makes it a lot more that confidence. And so that's how we built the company, because like we don't spend, a lot of these guys spend million and a half on cold market, on Facebook, on Google and stuff. So we're spending like maybe 20, 30 grand, but how we build it is through basically, like I said, that affiliate. So we're doing more a retargeting effort where there's that loyalty, that trust, that recognition, right? So instead of the 7 to 9 touch points, it's 1, 2 maybe touch points, right? Because they do trust that partner or whatever it is. Again, and for me, it's like I tell people, once you try the food, try other people's, right? And then let me know the difference. I'll give you an example.
Such a huge difference.
Oh. Yeah, because one of the companies we private label for, all these complaints and stuff. And then ours came out, and ours, I won't say too much because you don't know who it is, but a different color and stuff, right? And then all the, like, that was the only segment of growth they had. And then all the comments were like about ours. And it's just, it's night and day to see the difference and stuff. So like an example, they started giving us X, but now it's way Y, just because, again, you have to have the partner, but you also have to have someone in the space. And when I say in the space, the other couple of co-manufacturers, sure, they do food and manufacture food, but they're not in like a nutrition, healthy sports dynamic of it. And they don't really understand that, right? But that then shows in that product. So again, I think with us, you're going to get the care that I would want to have. Like if I'm not going to give it to my daughter in Arkansas or my son playing North American Hockey League up in New York, right? And not going to, nothing else is going to be created that wouldn't like meet those same metrics. So
yeah.
But again, yeah, it's been an interesting business, interesting ride, and lots of opportunities and growth. And again, just looking at, for us, I think the key thing is everyone has to eat, right? So it's like keep evolving, keep growing. I think that the buyer dynamics for you guys, especially, we saw a big buyer dynamic change in COVID. We worked a lot with gyms that basically their business is shut down. And a lot of you guys that weren't able to pivot, like, because we worked with a ton that had big subscriptions on meals, right? Private label for some others that you know. And again, that was a hard pivot for a lot of those guys. But the guys that and girls that have been successful doing that have a great business now because that buyer behavior changed. So it's just more common people buying things online than walking into a store, and the element of convenience and everything changed. So we've seen a lot of growth over the past few years. It's
huge. And guys, so here's what I do with my gyms. Yeah, we have one of our transformations is an executive transformation, and that includes the meal. So we can get that there. It serves as a very high price anchor for our normal transformation or our mid-ticket offers, right? But when we do the onboarding for virtually everybody, we sit down and we build out their nutrition program, right? And here's how we're able to squeeze in a lot of extra profit on this is, you sit down and you start building out a nutrition program for somebody. There are 2 ways to go, okay? The first way is, you go to the grocery store, You find everything for all these different meals. You pick it out, you buy it, blah, blah, blah. You bring it home. Then you've got to unpackage it. You've got to wash it. You've got to prepare it. You've got to cook, like season it. And then hopefully you're some sort of a mind, like you can make something taste good, right? But the reality is you can probably only make 2 or 3 things. So you got to eat the same things over and over and over. And you got to cook it, cut it, prepare it, portion it out, and there you go. Now, how many of your clients actually do that well? Not many, because chances are they're making meals for their family, their kids too. That might be different. It's just the time, you got work and you've got family and you've got kids and you got groceries and you got soccer practice or whatever it is. It's really hard for your average person to do this. And the number one way where they screw up is nutrition. Yeah. Right.
I'd put one more thing in there, Scott, just in regards to our meals. So like if you're making meals at home and you're putting them in Tupperware, or you're putting them in, I don't know, some kind of seal, right? With us, you have that 12 to 14 day shelf life. And I tell you, if you we have a lot of people that buy, and if you choose to freeze those meals, you're going to get 6 months in the freezer, right? That's with the CryoVac vacuum seal. And again, I'm not sure why anyone in the food space, you'll see more people doing it today, but like that again has a higher cost, right? The machines and stuff. And so again, I would not, some people do a tray seal with an air flat, nitrogen. I'm not big about injecting gas or anything into our food. That's why we don't do it. For us, the terminology, basically, as it comes through the tunnel, the oxygen is sucked out of the meal. So there's no pathogens or anything. Mm-hmm. So cryovac means basically looking like it's petrified. But again, until you open that seal, right, there's no pathogens that can get back in. So I'm probably bad because when I travel, I don't refrigerate my meal. I throw my suitcase. I go to the hotel or wherever I am, I'm flying, and then I'll put them in. But half the stuff I eat is pretty much sometimes almost cold, right? But again, just based on that seal, I'm when we say 12 to 14 days, some of them have up to 21 days, but we're putting 12 days on them. So
that's one of my favorite things. And I want to get to that in a second too, because that's such a big problem solver for a lot of reasons. But yeah, so when you're sitting down building out somebody's nutrition plan, you got 1 of 2 ways to go. One is you're doing all this work. And guess what? If they eat out even just 2-3 times a week, they're not saving any money by doing it themselves. Have you gone to the grocery store and looked at some of the prices for this stuff? You're not saving any money. So, or the option 2 is we can get these meals. We can pick out exactly what you like that'll be aligned exactly to your goal and to get you to where you need to be. And we get them delivered to your doorstep.
Yeah.
And we usually have 2 options, and you can do any amount. You can do 15 meals a week. You can do this, but we usually we'll do 6 meals a week or 12 meals a week, because that'll cover maybe all your lunches or dinners or both, right? And you can do breakfast too. You can do all of them, and you can do it 7 days a week. But we found that by doing the 6 and the 12 and doing 6 days a week, they can still have that one day where they're eating out for socially or whatever it is. And it works so well. And, we can charge, so what we charge kind of is, $450 a month, or $450 for 4 weeks, I should say, for if you do the 6 meals, the lunch or dinner, right? And then on the 12 meals, which will cover your lunch and dinners, it's normally around $890 or a little bit above for the 4 weeks. And essentially it's costing half that, our costs. And the reason this is because right now you can go to Icon Meals and you can set up an affiliate account, which I would encourage you to do. You get 10% off everything, which is awesome. And the cool thing is knowing Todd, he's allowed my gyms to get wholesale accounts and all the legends that work with us, which 30% off. And so you can make these huge margins while Todd and his company handles all of the work on the back end. We just log in, make a few clicks, and it drops to their doorstep. It's that easy.
So what we find is, Scott, we find a lot of people that are trainers that I've worked with for the past years, that we find a higher, I'll call it buy or rebuy rate from people that are actually eating our meals. So as you, right, if you're eating our meals and you're sitting down with a client, you're onboarding them, like the gyms that we work with, that they're actual trainers, we provide discount and they eat the meals. We have a much higher number of meals circulating through those gyms on a weekly basis, right? So if you do want to just participate in the affiliate program, fine, you get 10% to your end client, but you can also you'll get a 20% coupon code for yourself. But if you do the wholesale account, you got 30%, right? So I take advantage of that. As far as your own meals as well, eating those, again, talk to your CPA. I'm not going to be the CPA, but you guys can write off those meals 100% for your business.
I certainly write them off.
Side. So again, I would be taking full advantage of that. And the other thing, we have a lot of trainers, so they sell mom or dad a meal program based on their training program or whatever package, right? But we've got more and more people that now have kids, like my 2 kids, different colleges. I'm paying meal plan, but also I'm sending the meals every week. So we have a lot of parents sending meals to their kids all over the place, right? Because they know they're eating healthy. They can be on specific, again. So when you think about other potential revenue streams, or like you said, maybe it's just mom or dad training and they have a plan, but if they know that they can buy other meals at that discount or whatever for their family, all of a sudden you see that potential average order value go up. Hey, maybe, I don't know, maybe mom's a vegan and dad's buying whatever he's buying through you. Well, hey, have you tried like custom vegan meal or whatever? And so again, just different ways to increase that average order value. But also looking with you guys, when you have all the snacks or the seasonings, the barbecue sauces, when you're making 50%, you guys get 50% discount off on that, right? Yep. So if you added, let's just say $5 profit to one thing, right? And say the average order value is 170, but then you're adding now 170, you got 180, but you've got $5 more profit in that goes in your pocket. So there's a lot of different ways that I think it adds up. To me, sometimes I'd rather just be the wholesale guy, not selling the food. I had more money on that.
I'm happy with that. I'm happy that that's what I say, you're doing all the work, and to do it right is insanely tough, because I've tried multiple other companies, and a lot of the big ones, those are the ones that it's not really for healthy living. It's, you know, you're whatever they are. And then the ones that I have tried have gone out of business. And you guys, I mean, you're big, you're stable, you deliver like clockwork. And the food is the most consistent thing I've ever seen. And it's here's what I have to, because everybody thinks of like frozen food and guys, this stuff is like real food. It tastes like it has, and I'm not exaggerating, it tastes like it's just been cooked right there. Even talking about like the rice, I don't know what you do with the jasmine saffron rice, but it feels like it is just cooked right there. And your salmon, your salmon is better than a lot of restaurants that I go to.
Yeah, a lot of salmon's frozen, and then what they do is they call it slacked out, so it's fresh when it gets here, right? So it starts as a frozen block, and then when it comes from wherever it comes, it slacks out over time, and we don't do that. So we have through our vendor, it's 3 times a week our fish comes in. But when you say frozen, like so if you were, let's say, within 150 miles in Dallas or even whatever, right? And we have tons of people pick up gyms here, like all your meals are not ever going to be frozen. Like everything comes in fresh. If you walked in my warehouse right now, it's stored in refrigerated sections that's 32 degrees. So the only way that you guys get it frozen to you is with the dry ice, but because it's cryovac, right? You're never going to have any freezer burn. You're never going to have anything like that. So a lot of my meals that I have, I just are straight into the freezer and pull them out. Like we have a lot of Army Air Force bases around here, and a lot of those gyms and stuff that are on there, they buy 200-300 meals, and then they'll put X Men in their cooler, and then they have basically stored because
that's such a good idea.
Yeah, because your expiration dates don't start until you basically are de-thawing the meal, I'll call it, right? And the only reason we don't use ice packs, people say, oh, fresh with ice packs, it's a bunch of horse crap. Like it's not thoroughly. So the biggest thing is if you're going to freeze food, even to ship, you want it frozen instantly. Okay. You don't want an ice pack to slowly work its way through. You want it within and so what dry ice does, it's the same as a flash freeze. So as soon as that basically touches in the box, right, it's a gas and it instantly freezes solid through, right? So before a box leaves my dock, let's say it's 20 minutes as it's packed, like there's no dry ice in the box by the time it basically gets out the door. And you just want that. So then it's going to thaw. And we basically built it. It's a science as well. It's a pain in the ass, honestly, but again, it's like how much dry ice. So my point of telling you that is better to be frozen. So these ice packs that people say, hey, our stuff's fresh, half the crap leaks all over the stuff when we buy it from other people. It's not, you got to understand food. When you other people, you'll see in I don't know, some other places, they'll cook and they'll package in a warm environment. Wrong, right? Like it has to be cooked in our warm area. As soon as it's cooked, it goes to a blast freezer. And then based on if it's vegetable, if it's whatever it is, they all have different times it takes, but it has to be brought down to a certain temperature within minutes. Okay. And then from there, all my people here, the other 80 people are all wearing snowmobile suits. It's 30 degrees, 32 degrees. And from as soon as it goes out of that warm area, from a plating perspective, from a packaging perspective to a picking perspective, it's cold until it goes into UPS trucks. So that's a big thing. If anyone you see cooking and then plating in warm environments, wrong. All the pathogens just get dropped into that food. You put a lid or you put a seal on it, you got a bacteria full meal of crap, right? So again, you don't want that. And people oh, fresh. I'm like, how about it? You're going to need a bunch of antibiotics after that. So, but again, I think, I don't know. It's a little bit of frustration for me. So
Well, you've got it solved. And this is what this is one of the best things I love it, because you've got clients who are traveling, so they want to put stuff on pause and this, and that. You don't need to do that with this. That's the brilliant thing about that. It comes on dry ice, right? And frozen like that, and it's vacuum sealed. You can throw it right into your fridge, and it has a long shelf life, or you can throw it right into your freezer and it will last so long. And you can even warm it up directly from the freezer into the microwave too. And I have done that. And they're the best things to travel with, because we've got a cabin up in Flagstaff. I'll just throw those things in the Jeep and go up.
That's what I do.
Nobody has to interrupt anything. You can travel on an airplane and bring these things with you.
We have a lot of people actually, Scott, that ship them internationally. So like we can't ship food internationally, but what happens is, like, we have people in the Bahamas right now. I got people, I don't know, South Africa, Italy, like Michael Hearn when he was in Dubai and stuff, right? He just checks them as luggage. So we tell people, freeze your meals solid, put them in the same box that we ship them on. If you don't have whatever platinum status, ship them $25, and then they'll come off the turnstile. And customs for 99% of the countries is pretty cool. Like Australia is the only one we've had a few different issues with. They take, I don't know why they take sometimes the meats and stuff, but
they're
again,
so strict.
we have people all over the world that basically are doing that. So
hey, just quick reminder to everybody, if you are ready to start making an extra $10,000 more this month, every month, by making more money with less clients with transformational programs, and create a consistent flow of high quality leads, you can learn more about what it's like to work with me and my team at PT Legends, and how ridiculously affordable it is at CoachScottCarpenter.com. It is such a no-brainer that it more than pays for itself when we teach you how to enroll just two case study clients. Really, that's it. So go to CoachScottCarpenter.com and learn more about it. That's amazing. Yeah, and they're just so easy to travel with. So with everything, it's just the most convenient way. And at the end of the day, too, guys, for your end user clients, for you, okay, like you getting your 10% off, or if you're with PT Legend, you get your 30% wholesale, and then you can write it off. Yeah, check with your CPA. I write it off. I can't make these meals for cheaper, and yet I'm saving probably 5, 6, 7 hours a week of shopping and cooking and meal prep, and I'm going to fall behind on it, and my results are going to get screwed up. And same thing for your end user clients. I mean, if they go out for a couple lunches, for work because they didn't make anything, and a dinner or so, guys, they get this. They have no grocery bill. It's not going to cost them any more for this added convenience and this compliance. It's such a huge compliance tool. Yeah. You take all the margin of error out of it.
One of the things for you guys as well, Scott, is a lot of people I say that I work with on the training side say, hey, look, it's a big benefit for us, especially weight loss centers, because we can control what they're putting in their mouth, right? Mm-hmm. If we're able to work with you guys and have exactly what we've dictated or we put in their plan, and then we know that they're eating that, right? Because the biggest thing is when they're going to prep their food and stuff, or even me when I'm hungry, right? I'm driving home and I pull over somewhere. What am I going to do? Probably buy a bag of trail mix or a bag of something, or eat something that I shouldn't be eating, right? And for me, sometimes I'm hungry. I know on the way home, I'm going to eat just one of the meals in the car on the way home, or I'm going to grab one of that, I don't know, something when I leave, right? And it's just, again, knowing that you can control that element of it is, I think, one of the bigger things, because when you talk about results, right? I can tell you everything. I can put you on this plan. I can train you, etc. But if you're not going to do what most people sometimes don't do, right, then that's, to me at least, a bigger portion. So when you talk about results and you talk about, hey, how do you have that element of a little bit additional control? I think that's part of the value that I'd be selling it on as well. So
absolutely. Because at the end of the day, how many people really do want to be using MyFitnessPal and logging every little thing? How many people don't want to eat out at restaurants anymore? You know what I mean? Because, I mean, here's the thing. They could say, hey, I got salmon and rice from this restaurant, but when salmon and rice shows up and broccoli shows up from Icon Meals, we know exactly what's in there. When it comes up in that restaurant, it's going to come with 700 to 800 hidden calories in there, And that's where the frustration feels like I'm doing everything. I'm not losing the weight. Well, there's a lot of independent variables that are probably screwing things up that we can't even account for. We can't even begin to.
Yeah. And I'd say also with your folks, if you're not using them and you guys haven't tried them, I try the seasonings. Like I use the seasonings on everything, right? Like just from that standpoint, where they're 0 calorie. I think the highest one's got 58 grams of sodium in it, or milligrams of sodium in it, but most of them are like 0 to 10. Less than, so the sugar in them is less than 1 gram, and it's beetroot. We use, so there's nothing,
Wow.
everything organic pretty much in those. The only one that has anything is the garlic beer. I think has gluten because the garlic, or the beer, whatever. But like Cinnabon, it's like growing up as a kid, taking a white piece of bread, putting butter on it, putting cinnamon sugar. That's what that tastes like, right? Or Death by Chocolate. Anything I have oatmeal, my 7-year-old puts that Death by Chocolate in all his oatmeal and stuff. Or I have it in like yogurt, or I have the coconut cream. So there's a bunch of different ones, but it makes anything taste way better.
Mm-hmm.
And I think from that standpoint, again, from looking at it from a business angle, where you guys do have additional margin and stuff, but I don't know, there's a lot of different ways to look at it. And the other thing is, when people say, hey, it's too much money or whatever, you guys can also look. We just launched a new product, and we wanted to see what happened, but we called it Budget Box. All these people are talking about inflation and stuff. So you're talking about like a total box. I think it's 12 meals for under $120. I think it's like, if you do the subscription, it's like $99, right? But again, with your guys 30% off that or whatever, it's so if someone was like holy hesitation or whatever, and I know it's not just custom meals, it's basically a bunch of different ones. You can see what's in there, but from that standpoint, at $100 or less, like your cost, I think whatever, $70. So there should be there's very low barrier to entry for you guys, right? Because like even that $70, you can't even buy half of groceries for $70 or whatever, right? So
that's what I'm saying. It's just, I look at, like, when I go to the store and I buy this and I make this and look at this, it's not cheap. It's not cheap to do.
Yeah.
You know, and what's your time worth too?
100%. And then also,
and what are your results worth for this, for maybe a little bit extra? But again, even if you eat out three times a week for just Jimmy John's and this and that, like, you're not saving any money by doing it yourself.
And for you guys as well, being able to schedule your deliveries. So most people, like on the meal prep companies, you get shipped once a week, right? Or you get shipped whatever it is. And if I missed my Tuesday, then I'm not getting it for a whole 9 days or 11 days, whatever. With the calendar, you guys can, if you're doing custom meals, you can actually plan up to, I believe, maybe just 2 or 4 weeks. It was up to 6 months in advance, but you can schedule things out that way. I told you on the customization, you will be to do recurring coming up on the custom meals for subscription, either weekly or bi-weekly. But there's a lot of different options on that. When I say calendar, you guys pick the actual date. So if you wanted, the only day we can't do is Monday, and that's based on FedEx, UPS. They won't pick up on Saturday or Sunday. They will, but it'll sit in a warehouse somewhere for 2 days, right? So Tuesday is Mondays are a huge shipping day. We ship thousands of boxes. It's Monday, based on Tuesday, sort of the start of most people's weeks with us, right? And again, so when you get in a cycle, you'll have meals for that whole time, but being able to pick, the other thing is being able to stay on point. So if you guys have customers or like people that you're training, right, and you're on a program, but let's say they're traveling out of town, well, great. They can go on there and you could ship their meals, or they could ship the meals wherever they are in the US, right? Their meals can go with them. If they're not taking a couple meals and they're going to be away for 7 days or 5 days on a business trip or something, or family vacation, their meals can show up in their hotel ahead of time, right? That was before COVID, we were like pretty much business traveler was our big thing, or WWE wrestlers. They were going city to city on a nightly basis. So their meals would just show up in different hotels all over the place.
I've done that. I've ordered them to my cabin before.
Yep.
And so I wanted to shift gears real quick. What was one of your biggest accomplishments as you were growing this business? When was like a tipping point, like when you started to build momentum, and how did you come about that?
Yeah. I think, I don't know, I'm never satisfied with anything. I've had like 3 other businesses, right? So I've never worked for anyone else. I've had 3, I don't know, startups, if you want to call them, and I've had 2 exits in the past. So the last company I had for 14 years, we owned data centers. We were the early adopter in the cloud computing space. So we were the first guys ever. You guys probably know WordPress. So we were the first ever to host WordPress. Barry and Matt back, I don't know, I had that company for 14 years, sold it in 2014 to DataPipe, who sold to Rackspace. But so when I say like, I don't know, I don't look at we're there, right? I say, hey, we're on the next step. I've been able to grow, I don't know, my past couple companies, sort of myself, to 15, 20 plus million. And then at that point, it's really like, again, it's the people. You need to step up. We were talking about, like before, John Maxwell, law of the lid, right? It's that lid that you hit. And it's just opening up to different things. So it's the people that build the business. And when I say people, some people on here are going, oh, well, hey, I'm an independent guy or girl. But it's, again, who do you surround yourself with, right? When you talk about people, it's not just that, it's your network and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I think for us, we're on, I call it version 2.0. We're not to the point where I want to be at all. Like I see this as, we got tons of room for growth, right? Like my short-term goal is at 500,000 meals a week. We want to be doing over 1 million meals a week. But I think there's a lot of different variables for us. I think USDA was one of the big things for us to knock down. I didn't know anything about any requirements or anything. When we started this business, I can tell you crazy stories, but like when we started this business,
good thing you didn't know about it.
USDA and stuff, like we had, I don't know if you guys remember, I'm probably the older guy, but if you remember Saturday Night Live and there was like that person, Pat, you didn't know if it was a guy or a girl. So when we started with the FDA and USDA, like this person came in and found out later it was a girl, but she's wearing like this camo hat and these Walmart white sneakers, and she had this big, huge Bowie knife on. And she was like, hey, I'm going to crawl around your coolers and stuff. And I'm like, what are you talking about? She was like crawling around with a flashlight and stuff. But again, we learned a lot of things, right? So under, like, if you don't have USDA, you're not even supposed to be selling out of state. You're not supposed to sell wholesale, grocery store, et cetera, whatever. So there's a lot of people that just, again, fly under the radar.
Yeah.
So I think that's one of the bigger accomplishments. And then the next bigger accomplishment, I think, like, is really growing the team, right? The team is where I see a lot of people in different businesses micromanage. And I think that is a downfall for some people. Maybe it's a downfall for me, one of my weaker points. But I tell people from day one, when I hire anyone, right, it's not ever that I don't micromanage you. So I'm going to empower you. I'm going to enable you. I'm going to give you the resources to do it. I'm going to trust. And sometimes that bit me in the arse. But sure. I think another thing, I'm looking for almost like entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs, but within a company, right? And I want people to succeed. So like I've had a lot of people in my last two companies that were with me for 14, 17 years. And the reason that a lot of them aren't with me is because they got well taken care of on the last one. And some of those guys today don't work, but some of them also work, but they're making way more money than I would pay them. So I'm happy for them, right? And people that want to leave or whatever, I want them to succeed. So if within our culture, it's not, hey, what can I do to force you to stay and stuff? I want to see you grow as a person, succeed, right? So I think our culture is key. We try to build a good culture, and that's challenging sometimes with different language barriers and stuff. But again, I think we've done that well. I don't know. Another thing is maybe learning to hire slowly and fire fast. And that's been key for all my businesses, but this one especially, because you don't need any drama and you don't need any sort of open wounds or whatever that just drag things on. But again, just, I don't know, some big partnerships like UFC was interesting to me, right? Working with other people that, I don't know, I grew up with that were sort of, I don't know, maybe heroes and stuff or different things, but we're at that same level or even surpassed that level now. Some of the bigger partnerships, knowing that what we do provides value. I think some of the most rewarding things are people, like, I can give you a story. A guy came in here last summer and he was soaked in sweat, 115 degrees. He's got a ruck pack on, right? It's big, but he's got his ruck pack on, then he's got a backpack on. And this guy shows his pictures that he used to weigh almost 300 pounds. He walks 4 miles once a week in the heat to come pick up his Icon meals at our headquarters with his ruck pack on, and then walks back home and he puts them all in, packs them in his back. But like just the different transformations that we see, right? Not only like from a health standpoint, I've seen like work with some cancer patients and different things. So that's all rewarding, just knowing that the product that you sell isn't just another, hey, meal that we're making money off, right? It's really truly changing someone's life, or it's changed, I don't know, they've been able to transform, they've been able to be in a better place than they are. And I think those are all the rewarding things. We also do a ton with charity. So being at a level that we're able to actually give, I think makes what we do worthwhile, right? So we work with like Minnie's Food Pantry, Boys and Girls Club. Last night we were at a thing called Drink Pink. It was it's called Women's Rock, and it's for breast cancer awareness, right? So we were able to be a $10,000 plus like donor. We did a big live auction prize pack for well over 10 grand and stuff. And again, it's good to be able to give back, but being at that level feels good to be able to help and know that we can make a difference. So again, there's a lot of different things. I think a lot of goals, but again, never saying, hey, we're here and this is what we've achieved or we are somewhere, right? It's always, hey, how do we, and it's constantly like a bit reinvention and evolving, because if you just stay stagnant, you're going to die, right? Like you need to be always looking at, okay, how can I make that average order value? How can I provide more value? And for us, it's not just like marketing on sales and promotions. It's like, what value can I provide to our users, right? And that's honestly why we didn't have subscription until last year. Because all these people, like my biggest frustration is getting into a subscription with another company and being stuck, not being able to turn it off, being billed, blah, 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 blah. I feel if we do our job and we provide value to our end customer, then they should be coming back, right? And if not, then we're not providing enough value or enough service. Something's wrong. So again, it's up to us. So we have what I call a client-centric approach. And my customer service and everyone in this organization works towards client-centric, right? It's not about, hey, it's whatever the client first, and then we'll figure out if it's us internally, whatever, but they're always right, right? And again, I think building that, one thing we started, I don't know, a lot of food prep companies didn't have customer service. So you had the email and stuff, right? So for the first couple of years, we almost had 24-hour customer service on the phone, on ticket queue. So we still have that today. Again, and people like it, where they get a response on a Saturday or on a Sunday or at nighttime, et cetera. So we've drawn that back a little bit, but again, just that element of sort of the interaction and stuff, and looking at hey, what other things can we do to grow and evolve?
Yeah, it's not just about the dollars and cents. You lead with value.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, money is
value.
just evidence of you giving value.
Yep.
And the more value you give, the more the money is going to come.
Yep.
I mean, that's just what it is. So it's not just about the dollars and cents and making the money. Lead with the value, and that will sort itself out.
Yep.
So that's amazing. And then, I'm on board with that. That's exactly what we do, exactly what we teach. It's not just raising your prices. You need to, because most gym owners are barely making it. Mm-hmm. You need to do that for sure, but you do it by leading with value, where they're happy to pay you that every single month because they get so much value in return from it. And I completely agree with you too about the people and the culture, and almost like cultivating entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. Being able to, and this is hard for a lot of small business owners. It was hard for me, but give up control and really trust people and empower them to make decisions, even when they're the wrong decisions. I would congratulate people that I'm training up to be my mayor of this location. Even if they made a decision I wouldn't make, I say, thank you for making a decision, not just sitting and doing nothing. Like, here's what you could probably do better. And they'll tell me, they're like, yeah, I probably should have done it that way. You're right. But awesome job making a decision and taking action, because that's a hard thing to get people to do.
We do a lot of I call it team building exercises. When I say that, it's more like, so we'll do challenges. We'll do like different things. So we put on I know we've done weight loss challenges. We've done fitness goal things. Like we've done, the mud runs and stuff as a team, right? Enrolling and training for that. We've done a bunch of things. We had yoga twice a week, hot yoga for everyone involved. Mm-hmm. Feed them. Again, we do a lot of books. We do a lot of masterminds. So me personally, I participate in a few different masterminds. So then I'll bring on some of those people for calls or for, for hour or whatever on like a Zoom for my organization. We did blood panel work for everyone. So I work with Merrick Health and a few others, but Merrick, basically we brought 18 of our executives. I did all their blood panels. I had all their blood panels done. I had them find it. And again, a lot of people come to me all the time and say, hey, what I need to eat? Well, or what diet? I'm like, have you got your blood work done? Right. I'm a big believer in that. That's probably another conversation for you guys as well, but that could be another avenue for you guys as well, that we work with a lot of people on that side of it. But so again, getting that foundation laid, right? And then again, I want them to be healthier when they leave. I want them to be more successful. I want them to have, clearer mind. I don't want people coming here and being stressed and hating work, right? I want people to like and enjoy their job. And if not, we have to have that conversation, because I don't want you not enjoying what you're doing, right? And again, if you don't want to work on you, then that's where I have a bigger problem than you don't want to work for us, right? Because it shouldn't be that I want to rip my head off and put it on your body. I want you to be able to want to achieve more. And if not, if I can't help you sort of either through resources that I provide to you or other things, then that's probably where we maybe have to separate ways, just because, again, I want you to be in a better place when you leave here than when you came in. So
it's growth, and you're passionate about helping people grow in different areas of their lives. And I mean, that's why I'm a business coach now, right? Yep. It's just, I've been through hell and I've had to level up and change. I got lucky along the way to learn certain things or be exposed to them. And now we get to help people come across those lines. And it's just helping other people become successful.
Yep.
It's amazing how successful you can become if you just focus on that.
Yep.
And it's awesome to see you doing that with your employees too. And this is the foundation of pretty much everything we built for the end user that now goes to my employees, that now goes to other business owners. It's the same kind of philosophy. Always growing, always learning, always improving to become the best version of yourself, according to whoever that is, right? Because people want different things. Not everybody is, like us, weirdo entrepreneurs, probably 1% to 2% of the people. But so you kind of get them to see, hey, what is freedom? What does growth look like for you, and helping them in that way.
Yeah, so we try, when we bring in people, and we built what we call our 8 tenets or whatever. So for us, it's we call it the icon order, right? And it's the relentless pursuit of greatness, and it has different pieces in there. But everybody's sort of enrolled in that, and really then we go, and maybe it's silly, whatever some people think, but we make each person at the start of the year pick a word, right? And then serving different things, and then that's sort of for the whole time it's not hammered into them, but again, different tasks. So we have ours as be grateful, serve others, take initiative, own it, be consistent, be enthusiastic, set goals, never stop learning, build positive relationships. And there's all these different pieces underneath, right? But basically, I call those are growth pillars. And I try to implement that in any business, but like those are what Icon is. So like if you walk out, you have flag, right, and different things and stuff. But we want everyone to be enrolled in that culture, because if you don't have those pieces somewhere that in any team, and we have different teams in this building, right, that do different things, they're not going to be focused on what we want them to focus on. That's the end customer, right? How do we provide the most value for that end customer?
Mm-hmm.
So if there's something missing here, then like, again, I told you, we need to go in and explore, dig a little bit deeper and find out, okay, where is that broken link? And then be able to hopefully help them, because if not, and that's a hard decision, right? Sometimes I've had to like say, okay, hey, it's better that we leave. But then I've had people leave. I've had some people go into the military, come back 4 years later and say, hey, thank you. That was like the best thing, because I would have never grown if you hadn't like said, hey, we got to part ways, sort of deal. And again, I think some people just like, it's accepting excuses. And for me, it's always like, I have a phrase I use, like, try to live an excuseless life, right? I don't know if that's a word or not, but again, everyone's buying or selling and everything, but you're buying and selling your own excuses. And then I see a lot of people in business, and especially in some things, like, hey, we're not going to, I don't know, roll out this new program, or we're not going to roll out this new training, or we're not going to maybe, I don't know, put this offer it because it's not perfect. And I say, look, perfect's like a facade, right? I have another saying, I say, better is perfect. Work about being better in every single area, like in just that 1% in little areas, and just roll it out, like go for it. And let's work out the details later on, right? Because again, there's so many people that get caught up in their own mind that in any element of business that they're not pushing it. So when I say these tenets and stuff, we try to build like the teams. And I know if someone's thinking, okay, I only have one person, whatever, but from that team, it's like looking at building that team as your own individual little business, right? And within Icon, it's like, okay, how can you grow? How can you have a career path or whatever you want to succeed inside? And I said, like, I think some of the best businesses have great examples of that. One of the greatest examples of that, if you ever get a chance to go up and see Andy and Sal at like First Form and how they run their operation, it's just on another level of building culture and building an environment that just like is amazing for employees, but also then for the customer, the value and service. It's
so cool. You generally, when you meet some of those employees of those other ones, you can tell there's certain companies crazy. Are doing something completely next level with that, and it blows you away. Yeah, it really does. I mean, everybody from the guys running it, but down to just, you know, accountability coach, whatever it is, whatever little role, and you're like, holy cow. Yeah, they've built that culture. That's a hard thing to do.
Yeah, but I think it's key of taking those nuggets, because in life, right, all you're looking for a coach, or you're looking like you business coach and stuff, it's really the time collapse. Okay, and how can I take pieces or snippets from other people that are more successful or in different places where I want to be, and how can I time collapse that, right? And people are always looking for that shortcut, which again, to me, bugs me, because they don't want to put in the work. But again, if I can take those little pieces and time collapse any element, I'd rather pay to time collapse, right, to learn and help me get where I want to be, or help me understand. Because again, that's a key thing. I think people sometimes don't even want to understand, they just want to get there. I want to understand how, because if I can't understand how, I can't help other people. I can't go up that mountain and come back down and bring them back up, right? So again, a lot of people just want that quick lift up to the top, and I think that
no matter, but it's about the work. Like, take that shortcut, but no, you got to put in the work, or else there's just no magic bullets. You can't just pull a switch and get rich. You got to put in the work, right? You'll be disappointed otherwise. But time collapse it. God, you can move the most successful people. And it's funny when I read, I got a huge bookshelf over there, but as you start reading all these different business books and boom, 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 you realize, oh, that reference that person. Oh, that's that person. And that person. They're all connected because they've all learned from each other or from the same source. I've never met anybody who's really successful that did it on their own. They're all buying time and shortcuts from each other.
Well, it's interesting when you get into higher masterminds, and like some of these masterminds I've been in the last couple of years, it's the same people. Yeah. Like a lot of them are the same people, right? So in the fitness business space, it's a lot of high net worth, not just high net worth, but smart individuals in the same circle, right? Learning exactly as you said from one another. So
yeah, and paying for proximity has a huge ROI. I mean, it just does. I'm going to continue to do it until the day I die, because at the end of the day, there's a reason we go to school and we learn math or learn whatever it is. You don't invent math by yourself. You don't invent your own version of algebra. Like, it's already there. Learn it, and then learn how you can apply it to your skill set. It's the same thing with business. Go to somebody that's already created it, and then apply it to your specific situation.
Yeah, I think it's also like for you guys as trainers, right? It's like, again, your outward image, probably a lot of people, that's their first impression of, hey, am I going to work with him or her, right? And stuff as well. I think that's the same people at Icon. They're like, well, how did you blah, 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 lose weight or this or that? And they see me and they're like, well, what do you take? And I ate Icon. I ate Icon Stable 3 times a day, probably for 6 years now, 7 years, right? And it's funny because my kids at home, they're like, what's for dinner? And my wife will say Icon. They're like, Icon. I've ate Icon Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, like blah, blah, blah. Like, but again, that's just been a staple. And for me, I hate going in the grocery store now, right?
Oh, yeah.
But
oh, yeah.
it's the same thing. You got to be an example of the product that or service that you're providing. And I think like the key thing with masterminds and putting into you, like if I was working with someone and they weren't getting better and better and better year over year or month over month, right? I don't know why I'm with them. Why am I paying them money? Why am I trying to grow with someone like that? So again, I want to see any people that I work with like growing as well. And that's why like we try to enroll different people. I'll call it in our own mastermind here. Like for us, we used to do a thing called Block Party, Icon Block Party, and we bring in 40 or 50 of our affiliates until COVID. And we do a 2-day workshop, right? So I had like Bedros, I had Ryan Stuman, Hardcore Closer, I had Nick Santoni, a bunch of different people come in. And that's like the first couple where we did a 1-day full, basically 12-hour mastermind, right? And I've had tons of different people like build different businesses from that mastermind. And then we did like group things where, I don't know, we did workouts, we had all this other stuff, but that's what we used to put on, and we'll hopefully get back to that. But I think that's key, right? Build it with the people that you have in that environment to both get better and then celebrate each other's success. So
absolutely. And the time is right for it. I've been doing in-person stuff quite often. I mean, people are ready for it. People are asking for it. So it's back. You know, it's back. I just got back from Orlando for 4 days. So yeah, I love it. Well, Todd, I don't want to keep you forever. I know you're a busy guy. But I want to say thank you so much for being on the show. If you give us some parting words, like if you go back in time to your younger self, I don't care whether you were 20 or 30, what would be one piece of advice that you would like to go back in time and plant that seed for yourself?
Like I said, probably from the business side, learn to that hire slowly and fire quickly, right? That was a big thing. I want people to succeed, right? So I want people to succeed often more than they want to succeed. But I think the key thing is just like you have to build a routine around how you want your business and your life to succeed. Like for me, early on, it was all about, hey, the material things and this and that, right? And it's not like it's, for me, I'm the guy who wakes up at 3:30 in the morning. I'm pretty routine in my beliefs and different things and how I run my life. But it's like that is what has allowed me to scale. And if I don't have that routine piece to better me, because people say, oh, hey, you're getting up at this time and you're doing this and that, and you're being selfish. I'm like, selfish. Like I have to have that time to be better version of me to provide more value to my family, right? To my employees, because if not, I'm not going to be performing at my best. Right. And so again, for me, that's like my prayer time, my scripture time, my reading time, my gym time in the morning, right? My journaling, et cetera, whatever. And then I'm able to be at my best. And again, if I'm not pouring into me, like people always like, it's not, hey, being selfish. So you need to understand that, hey, I'll call it sometimes as well, people have imposter syndrome, right? They need to work on themselves to get over that. I say, find someone, I think early on, if you don't believe in yourself, you need to find someone else who believes in you more than you believe in yourself to help you get out of that, right? And those would be some key things, but just keep working on you, right? You got to be evolving, reinventing and being able to pivot, and don't get stuck in like a mindset of, oh crap, like change, right? Like people often fear change in different things. And I think the key thing is you need to be agile in business, and you need to be able to pivot on a dime and not have a thought process. And I'll say the final thing, trust your gut. Okay. Anytime I don't trust my gut, it ends up biting me in the rear end down the road. Right. So I know myself well enough, and people always say, hey, how do you we could get a whole nother conversation on risk, because that's a big thing for me, right? I'm totally different on how I look at risk, because to me, risk, I'm betting on myself. Okay. And if I'm in the driver's seat and I'm in control, I'm always going to bet on me. And risk is, they're like, oh man, potentially not payroll. This, like, look, I've been in business here 8 years. There's never any question for me, because I know and I trust myself to be able to circumvent whatever waters, right? It is. And that's how you just, I think you need to take those risks. And some people get caught on those risks, which hold them back from growth.
It's funny. We could write down all our life, take 5 minutes to write down all our life philosophies, and I guarantee they will match about 96%, like almost verbatim, which is great. And it's just that constant growth and seeking and trying to get better, and seeing the world in a different point of view, and not having that scarcity mindset. You've actively fought that. and adopted a growth mindset. And so that's an abundance mindset. So that's awesome to see. Really resonate with you. And Todd, I appreciate you coming on the show. For everybody listening, guys, if you haven't tried Icon, just go on there right now and grab an affiliate account and try those meals and write it off. If you're a business owner, check with your CPA, but write it off and try them because they're amazing and the food is really good. And it is such a value add for your current clients because they're struggling with food. I know it, you know it, they know it. So do yourself a favor, try that out. Go to iconmeals.com. Todd, thank you so much.
Awesome. Appreciate it, Scott. Thanks, guys.
Take care. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you are ready to start making an extra $10,000 a month or more this month by making more money with less clients and create a consistent flow of high-quality leads, you can learn about what it's like to work with me and how ridiculously affordable it is at CoachScottCarpenter.com. And if you got any value out of this episode, please pay it forward and leave a review for this show. It helps other gym owners find the answers to the huge problems that we all share. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.